You've all heard the story of David and Goliath. David was an Israelite shepherd boy from the house of Jesse who killed a giant, a Philistine giant named Goliath, with only 5 stones and a slingshot. You hear that story and you're fascinated by it because you think things like that could never happen today. That's in the Bible. It was miraculous. But read the story very carefully. The only thing unusual going on in the story was the size of the enemy. Goliath was a giant. He stood over 9 feet tall. He had a bronze helmet and bronze armor. His shield was so big the Philistines had to hire a shield bearer to carry it in front of him. He had a spear with an iron tip weighing 9 pounds, and experts tell us that his armor altogether weighed something like 272 pounds. And yet David had enough faith in God to take his slingshot and go out and face Goliath and defeat him. It's a great story because it tells us that with faith, we can face giants. And you may not have to face an actual physical giant in your life, but there are giants in your life that you're facing today. There are good giants and there are bad giants. And the giants that I'm talking about can be classified in 2 different ways. The good giants are the challenges that you face in life. Maybe it's a test that you have to take at school that shows what you've learned, that helps you grow in your intelligence, in your education. Maybe it's something in athletics. Maybe it's a hobby that you have or a skill that you're trying to develop. Maybe it's a relationship in your life. There are a lot of good challenges, and we don't need to be lazy and avoid them. We need to face them with faith, the way David faced Goliath. Now, there are good giants, but there are also bad giants, things that we would never invite into our lives, but bad things happen to good people. These bad giants are the trials in life. But we can take faith in those as well because the Bible encourages us about these. James, for example, in James chapter 1, verses 2 and 3 tells us that these bad giants come in all shapes and sizes. He says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, knowing that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness." Whenever your faith is tested, God can give meaning to that test, to that trial, to that hard thing, and He can use it to help you grow, to become, in this case, more patient, more steadfast. Another great passage is 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. "No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, who will not let you be tempted beyond your ability, but with the temptation will also provide a way of escape that you may be able to endure it." Sometimes people misinterpret that passage to mean that God will keep us from having to face temptations and trials. That's not what it says. He says the way of escape will allow you to endure it. So not avoid it, but get through it, which is a great promise from Scripture when it comes to the bad giants in our lives. There are good giants, the challenges that we face, and there are bad giants, the trials and the hardships that we have to face. But we can take heart because just as God was with David when he faced Goliath, God is with us in the giants that we face in our lives. And it's very important for us to face these giants. You know, giants are big. They have grown a lot. And the interesting thing about it is every time you face a giant successfully, you grow a little bit bigger yourself. You become more of a giant yourself. Not a challenge and not a trial, but a spiritual giant. And that's very important. Last week I talked to you about making mistakes, failing forward. And I told you that if you try to grow, you're going to make a few mistakes, but it's okay. I was thinking about muscles and how muscles grow. Have you ever worked out or exercised or played a sport and you realize the next day that you're really sore? Do you know what that is? Whenever you work out and test your muscles, they have little microscopic tears in them, and that's where the soreness comes from. You could look at that as a mistake or a failure of some kind, but that's not what it is. Those little tears that you get actually cause your muscles to grow. That's how they get bigger. When they heal up, they grow stronger. When you face giants, you can get hurt. You can make mistakes. You can fail. But when you get up and dust yourself off and try again, you're stronger the next time. As James says, those trials produce steadfastness. So my challenge to you today is to go out there and face those giants, whatever they are, knowing that God is with you and that facing them will help you become even stronger. Go out there and become a spiritual giant. And I hope you have a great day.